I'm Mel.
And I'm Janelle.
And this is the Murder Mamas.
The Murder Mamas.
Welcome.
Welcome. Hi. How are you?
Good. How are
We're
you?
doing the same thing every week.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's okay.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some listener messages that I got about the last episode.
Okay.
The Stephanie Crow episode.
Yes.
They came from someone who knew her. From the area.
Yeah.
From Escondido, and the person I spoke to, said that they really felt that Tuit was innocent, and that they really agreed with the fact that his case got thrown away because of the mismanagement of evidence.
Okay. Wow.
They also said that just knowing Michael, Josh, and Aaron, it's hard to think that anyone else did it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I didn't know them.
Wow.
But this person did know them, said that, they're very smart, and that there was a few things that they talked about too that weren't really listed anywhere in the research, which I found pretty interesting. So
right.
Just a whole different, I don't want to use the word insider, but someone who was there living it at the time perspective.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was some messages I exchanged from this past week, and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, keep the messages coming in.
Absolutely. I loved having that conversation. I loved seeing the other side of it.
Yeah.
Kind of being able to see that even though you're researching from so many different angles, there's still another one you'll not understand or see.
Yeah. They always say there's three sides to every story. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially in that case where there's no real justice at the end, you know?
Yeah.
It's not cut and dry. It was really, really interesting to see that other side of it.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. I thought that was really, really fun.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
All right. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about Arthur Shawcross. Shawcross.
I've never heard of him.
I'll probably call him Arthur because Shawcross is hard for me to say for some reason. He was born in Kittery, Maine, the first of 4 children of Arthur Shawcross and Elizabeth Bessie Shawcross.
I love that nickname, Bessie.
Bessie, yeah. Isn't that cute? He was born premature and a very small baby.
Okay.
So, not that matters, but it's just a little interesting fact. His family moved to Watertown, New York when he was young. While several later tests showed Arthur's intelligence to be subnormal or even, quote, borderline retarded, unquote, he received A's and B's in his first 2 years of grade school, but was later tested to have an IQ of 86, signifying low average intelligence. The average IQ, I looked it up, is 85 to 115.
Did you look it up? Because every time you talk about someone's IQ, I ask what it is, because I can never remember, and then I have to stop and Google it.
Yep. So he had an 86, and the average IQ is 85 to 115.
So the very low end of average.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. According to Arthur, he was a constant bedwetter as a child and suffered terrible sexual abuse at the hands of his mother. Mm-hmm. He alleged she would insert objects into his rectum, and when he was 9 years old, she performed oral sex on him. Later on, he would admit to having a sexual relationship with his sister.
I hate all of this so much already.
But, in contrast to these claims, however, his parents and siblings maintained that he had a normal childhood and the described events were largely the product of his imagination. You'll see this throughout. He seems to lie a lot.
So do you think that's a lie, or do you
think... I think that's a lie.
Do you think there's any
vein
of truth?
I'm not sure. I can't tell, because there's also something saying that he had sexual relations with his aunt as well. But, all of his 3 siblings, say that nothing like that ever happened, and not that they would admit. I don't know.
Even if they don't admit it, there's still, so many times where one kid is targeted.
Right.
I'm just kind of...
Yeah.
trying to look at it from a different side where...
But, like, no one's come forward and said, yes, this actually happened, and he had
But what
a
if they're just, like,
childhood.
gaslighting him?
Maybe. I don't know.
I know. I'm just talking. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So, but he does lie a lot.
Okay, so, like, keep that in mind as we're listening.
Yeah.
That he's a known liar about, like, things that can be verified?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
I will put that in my brain hole.
Yeah. Although Arthur received good grades when he first started school, his grades went downhill after 2 years. Arthur was constantly bullied as a child and would sit in the classroom alone while the other kids played outside. Because of being bullied, Arthur had a reputation at school as a bully as well and would frequently act out violently. He dropped out of high school in 1960.
It's like hard not to feel bad for them.
It is
like
hard.
I know there's bad stuff coming,
Right.
but it's like
when they're little, yeah.
Because the first 2 years of school, what, he's like 7?
Yeah.
You know? Like...
Not very old.
It's sad.
Right. In 1967, Arthur was drafted by the Army. Although he was only 21 years old, he was already married and had an 18-month-old son. When he entered the Army, he divorced his wife and gave up his parental rights to his child. During one of his tours of the Vietnam War, he claimed to have participated in gruesome acts such as beheading the Vietnamese women. His records, however, showed he never saw combat. So he was like a clerk and would distribute ammo or, just different guns and things to soldiers. Okay. So he sat behind a desk most of the time. So that was probably untrue as well. Is what the Army is saying.
Why would you
lie about that?
Yeah, like...
Well, he's weird in the head. Following his return from Vietnam, Arthur was stationed in Oklahoma. There, he married his second wife, Linda. She noticed he seemed to get a perverse delight in lighting fires, and a psychiatrist from the Army explained to her that Arthur derived sexual enjoyment from fires.
How?
I don't know.
Lots of questions.
That means... lighting himself on fire while he's doing something.
Well, I don't think... do people light?
I think they do.
Themselves? Or just, like, watch it?
I was reading another case. I forget. And I remember they, like, lighting themselves on fire. Like, during the act.
But, like, a little bit?
I don't know. I don't know where... I'm not sure.
I remember being like a kid and my brother was like obsessed with fire.
Yeah.
He didn't kill anyone
that
I know of. But yeah, like he loved fire. Fire's interesting. Like little pyros.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
yeah. Nothing wrong with that. But you start lighting yourself on fire, then you got some issues.
Yeah, like I just don't know how that could ever be sexual.
I don't know.
Okay. Well sounds good, Arthur. My dad's name is Arthur.
Oh. When Arthur was discharged from the Army, he and his wife moved to Clayton, New York. He started committing crimes, including burglary and arson, and ended up receiving a 5-year prison sentence.
The arson's fitting.
Yeah, right. He was released after only serving 22 months because he helped save a guard during a prison riot. After his release, he divorced his wife and moved back to Watertown.
So you just get out of jail if you protect one person one time, you're no longer a danger to the rest of society?
Because all the bad guys get, the least amount of time.
I swear.
Really
everyone you do is the same, 6 seconds for Carl Coral, It's like, come on, man. Yeah. People go to jail longer for weed. What the hell?
Especially here in Texas.
For real. It's like...
Oh, I'm sorry about the dogs. We're recording at
Lucy
home.
just wants to be a part of this.
She really
so
does.
Desperately. She wants to lay on my face and just slowly inch up my body. I'm just, she's trying to be a 60-pound lap dog.
Yes, she is.
The cutest.
Yes. All right, now we're going to talk about the murders.
The murders.
On May 7th, 1972, he raped and killed his first known victim, 10-year-old Jack Owen Blake, after luring the boy into a wooded area in Watertown. Blake's body was not found until authorities received a tip by phone on September 5th.
Okay, I hate that. My son's name is Blake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Arthur and Blake.
And May and...
May.
I don't like this case.
On September 2nd, just prior to the body's discovery, he raped and killed 8-year-old Karen Ann Hill, who had been visiting Watertown with her mother for the Labor Day weekend. Arthur was arrested the next day. A grand jury indicted Arthur for the murder of Hill's death. On October 17th, he was allowed to plead guilty to a lesser charge of first-degree manslaughter for both deaths and was sentenced to a maximum of 25 years at Attica. So he gets a maximum of 25 years for killing a child.
I did notice that the first one was a girl or a boy.
A boy.
And the second one was a girl.
Yes.
So is there like a pattern going forward? He doesn't have any sort of victim profile
He talks about girls a lot, or he mostly talks about girls and denies the fact that he raped the 8-year-old boy.
So he denies that one?
Yes.
Like forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah. After 14 years, inexperienced prison staff and social workers concluded that Arthur was, quote, no longer dangerous, unquote, disregarding the warning signs of psychiatrists who had assessed Arthur as a, quote, schizoid, quote, psychopath, unquote. Excuse me. So that personality is a tendency towards solidarity or sheltered lifestyle, secretiveness, emotional coldness, detachment, and apathy. Affected individuals may be unable to form intimate attachments to others and simultaneously possess a rich and elaborate but exclusively internal fantasy world. Other associated features include stilted speech, a lack of deriving enjoyment from most activities, feeling as though one is an, quote, observer rather than a participant in life, an inability to tolerate emotional expectations of others, apparent indifference when praised or criticized. These symptoms typically start in late childhood or adolescence. So that was what he was, according to psychiatrists.
And they just let him go?
And they just let him go. After, 22 months, and he was...
Oh, 14 years.
14 years.
I mean, that's a long time.
14 years, and yeah.
Not enough.
Not enough.
It's better than 22 months.
22 months. I don't know where I got them from.
I think that was what the other one was.
Yeah, the other one is that. Yes. After yeah, that's pretty bad. After relocating due to the public's outcry of his release, he moved to Rochester with his fourth wife. The judicial system then thought it was wise to seal Shawcross's records to prevent panic wherever he lived. So basically, he would move around the cities, and everybody knew about him and what he did, and they would just, drive him out of town. So the courts decided that he would be better off with sealed records, so no one would know what he had done, so that he could actually have a living somewhere.
I can understand, the reasoning there,
Mm-hmm.
People get rehabilitated, right? Like, that's the point of jail.
Yeah.
But, not for him.
Yeah. Not for murder of children.
Yeah,
that's too much.
It's hard to say without being there and, knowing, but obviously there's more, so he didn't stop. He was still dangerous. And it's...
Yeah.
But, I can understand sealing his records or sealing someone's records. Maybe not. I don't agree with, his, but,
I can understand that, too.
I get that to a certain extent.
Right.
But,
it's hard with child murder. That's too much.
And I wonder because there's, rape and stuff involved, too. Was there a sex offender registry? Not at this time, right?
Time.
That's something that would put you...
Nothing that I thought.
On a registry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have this grave mistake led to the murders of 12 more people, all of them in Rochester. So.
I'm not...
I know.
It's, so absurd.
It is. In March 1988, Arthur began murdering again, primarily sex workers in the area. before his capture less than 2 years later. He was convicted of 11 murders, with a 12th not officially charged to him. Arthur began developing a habit of looking for sex workers and would use his girlfriend Clara's car to go to Lake Avenue near the Guinness River, which was an industrial area well known for cheap sex workers and drug dealers. Arthur, yeah.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Wasn't he married?
Yeah.
And he has a girlfriend?
And he has a
How
girlfriend.
does he have time to be a murderer?
He's some suave guy, I guess.
Married and have a girlfriend?
Yeah. Married,
does he work?
Girlfriend and sex workers.
Yeah, like, how do you have time for that?
I don't know. How do you have the stamina for that?
Again, like, everyone's got the same 24 hours.
Right. Yep.
Wow.
Okay, so Arthur would find his first victim, 27-year-old Dorothy or Dotsie Blackburn, around this area. According to Arthur, Dotsie bit his genitals, drawing blood, and began to call him names, which enraged him. He began biting her groin in retaliation before strangling her to death. He dumped her body into the Salmon River, one of his favorite fishing spots. So that's kind of gross to me, that he fishes in a spot that he's dumping the bodies in.
Ew.
Like, how gross is that?
Yeah, that's
Don't
super
you think
gross.
if that was your favorite fishing spot, you'd pick somewhere else? I don't know, to dump a body?
Well, even, like, to not have that near you.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like that's really close to home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is my favorite fishing spot. And, like, dead bodies just keep popping up here. But, like,
Okay.
I spend so much time here fishing because apparently I have time to fish, have a wife, have a girlfriend, and kill people.
Yeah. And have sex with sex workers.
And then kill them.
And kill them. Yeah.
I'm looking up pictures of him.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
he's not the best looking guy.
Yeah, like,
I don't know how he gets all of these women. I mean, he's been married 4 times. Yeah. Following Dotsie's murder, Arthur became a Lake Avenue regular and was known to the sex workers by the name of Mitch. He wouldn't kill again for several months, but after being laid off from his job, went into a rage and picked up Anna Steffen. When he was unable to get an erection, Anna began to make fun of him. Arthur began to beat her, and as she tried to get through the Guinness River, he drowned her and let her body float downstream. Guinnessy. Guinnessy River. So, Arthur's third victim was 59-year-old former waitress Dorothy Keeler, with whom Arthur had struck up a friendship. The day of her death, October 21st, 1989, Dorothy and Arthur had spent the day fishing and having sex before getting into an argument about Arthur's various affairs and how he'd been stealing money.
this is another
sex work, and so he's getting mad about his other affairs with this other sex worker.
The drama.
He does have a lot of drama in his life.
The drama.
Oh my
Wow.
God. Angry that she was going to reveal his affairs to both Clara and Rose, Arthur grabbed a log and beat her on the side of the head. He hid the body and left, but told the police later that he returned and threw her skull into the river. His next 3 victims, 25-year-old Patricia Ives, 32-year-old Frances Brown, and 22-year-old Maria Welch, were all sex workers Arthur picked up and murdered while having sex with them. Arthur's story for all 3 was that he saw them trying to steal from them, became angry, and killed them. He hid Patricia's body under scraps of construction material, Frances's down a nearby embankment, and dumped Maria into a roadside bushes. After Frances Brown's body was found, the media began to catch wind of the killings happening in the area. Nicknames like the Guinnessy River Killer, the Monster of the Rivers, and the Rochester Stranglers began popping up.
I don't know why you said the Monster of the River, and I thought of that fishing show. River Monsters.
River Monsters. Yes.
It's like the first thing that popped into my head.
Oh, yes.
He's doing so many murders.
He's doing a lot. Yeah, he's on a spree. Some people speculated that the Seattle Green River Killer had merely moved locations and was now terrorizing Rochester.
Do you feel like there's not as many serial killers now?
No, I think there are as many serial killers
You
now.
think
We
so?
just don't know about them yet.
I feel like this time frame that we're in,
The 70s.
this is like the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Like late 80s.
Yeah.
There was like so many.
There were.
And like, I mean, just there's Dahmer, there was the Green River Killer, there was BTK. Like, there's so many different ones.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
But I can't think of off the top, but like Israel Keys is this generation. And then there's a bunch of them. And I think, I don't know, I think I read somewhere that you walk by at least 7 to 8 murders in your lifetime and you don't know it. You know, obviously, as you're just walking by randomly with people.
That's like such an uneasy feeling.
Right? So, I mean, you never know who you're walking by.
Yeah.
I always tell my mom always says, like, oh, that poor man in the wheelchair has to cross the street by himself, and be like, how do you know he's a poor old man? Maybe he murdered like 15 people when he was younger. Now it's karma and he's in a wheelchair. Like, you never know.
Yeah.
Right?
I just feel like I don't hear about serial killers.
No.
Not current ones.
Not current ones. No, you're right. Maybe because we haven't connected everything yet.
Maybe.
There's probably a lot of killings out there that we don't know about.
Or they're getting better at making them look like they're not murders.
Yeah, they're not connected.
Yeah. Lots of Criminal Minds stuff is coming to mind.
Yeah. After Frances Brown's body was found, the media began to catch wind of the killings happening in the area. Oh, I already read that. Okay. 30-year-old June Scott was the first of Arthur's victims, where he dove back into his love of cannibalism and mutilation. After suffocating June, a family friend of his, Arthur cut her open with a knife to remove her organs and speed up the decomposition process. Arthur also removed her genitals and consumed them, as well as removed the organs. Her boyfriend waited 3 weeks to report her missing.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
It didn't say much.
Hello, sir, boyfriend?
Yeah.
Why would you wait 3 weeks?
I don't know. Probably
and that said he was a family friend?
He was a family friend of his. Yeah.
So he has like no...
He has no fucks.
Yeah. Wow.
Elizabeth Gibson was merely waiting in Arthur's car to keep warm while he was getting a cup of coffee at a nearby diner. Arthur again claimed that after engaging in mutual oral sex, Elizabeth tried to steal his wallet. He also said that while strangling her, she struggled so hard she broke a gear shift in his car. She was the only victim where he went to Wayne County to dispose of the body because he could sense the police were catching him and wanted to throw them off the trail.
How far away is Wayne County?
It wasn't far. It was just like the next county over. It's not like it was hours away.
Like the most minimal amount of effort.
Right.
Like, oh, I didn't want the police to catch me, so I drove down the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Both Darlene Trippi and June Cicero were sex workers that Arthur picked up, strangled, and decomposed of in December 1989. He murdered Darlene after she made fun of him for failing to get an erection and hid her body in the woods. After throwing June's body off a bridge by the Salmon River, Arthur returned 2 days later and sawed off her genitals and ate them.
Okay, gross.
Mm-hmm.
Super gross.
And I'm just curious, like, do you put it over a fire first?
I knew you were going to say, what sort of prep do you do?
Cook them, or do you just eat them raw? Because I'm not quite sure how you would do that.
And that's old meat.
It's old. Yeah.
That's so gross.
Yeah.
God, that's so gross.
It's fine. I don't know.
That's so gross.
I feel like you need just a bunch of Pepto.
I can't move past this.
No.
That's so gross.
Yeah, he's pretty sick.
That's so gross. I know I've said it like 8 times, but in case you didn't know, I think that's so gross.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like, just the old meat part of it. I hate thinking of a person as meat, but like, the decomposed body.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
I need a shower.
Yeah. His final victim was Felicia Steffens, another 19-year-old sex worker. Arthur claimed he couldn't recall any details of the murder other than he did it and disposed of her body near the last two. Felicia went missing December 26, 1989, and a few days later, on the 31st, a pair of hikers found some jeans with her ID in the pocket. An aerial search commenced, and her body was found on January 3rd.
I just want to say that whenever we talk about those kinds of things and they happen around Christmas time, like, it makes me extra sad.
Yeah.
Like, for her family, you know? I don't know. Like,
well, because it's a holiday that everybody celebrates, special holiday.
It just makes me extra sad. I just wanted to interject that.
Yeah. In November 1990, Arthur went to trial for the 10 murders that occurred in Monroe County. His defense team attempted to plead not guilty by reason of insanity, citing his turbulent upbringing, PTSD from Vietnam, as well as claiming he had a genetic disorder and a cyst on his brain. However, he was declared sane and fit to stand trial and was subsequently found guilty and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. After a few months later, Arthur was taken to Wayne County to be tried for Elizabeth Gibson's murder. He and his team did not try to plead insanity and received a life sentence.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. At least for a time, Arthur believed that the spirit of a 13th century cannibal, Armias, possessed his body and drove him to rape, murder, and cannibalism. He agreed to be interviewed for a 2003 documentary about cannibalism, where he bragged about slicing out and eating the genitalia of 3 victims, but refused to discuss eating the genitalia of his first victim, Jack Black, in 1972.
Blake.
Excuse me. Jake. Oh my gosh. Jack Blake in 1972. Wow. On November...
Wait. Did you watch that documentary?
I did.
He doesn't talk about...
He talks about it, yeah.
But does he say if he flamed it or not?
No, he doesn't say how he did it. No. He just talks about that he did it.
Did they ask him?
No, they didn't.
No.
And I know. They should have.
I mean...
We want to know.
I'm glad they didn't. But also, you've spiked some curiosity.
Yes. On November 10th, 2008, Shawcross complained to officers about a pain in his leg. He was taken to the Albany Medical Center where he went into cardiac arrest and died that night. He was cremated. Now this is fun. One psychiatrist's analysis of Arthur is, quote, Dr. Cross compiled an extensive report which suggested that Arthur was an emotionally unstable, learning disabled, genetically impaired, biochemically disordered, neurologically damaged individually, psychologically alienated from significant others during his entire life, venting his frustration and rage mixed with fear and defiance in a lifetime of ever more violent and aggression, which ultimately turned to overpowering murderous fury, unquote. So that's a sentence right there.
I mean, you know, like, you want people, like, your legacy.
Yeah.
That's
not what you want.
I mean, obviously not, and he did horrible things, but, like, it's a mouthful of a legacy, man.
Yes, it was.
In the worst way.
And there was a lot more that he went into, like, he actually did go back to some of the bodies and have sex with them after they were decomposing a lot of times.
He did, like, a lot of...
So he did a lot of...
Necrophilia. Cannibalism.
And he wasn't so much as into sexual penetration. He was just into oral sex, mostly.
Weird.
Yeah. And usually he couldn't get an erection. So I'm not quite sure.
Was Viagra invented at this time?
I don't know.
Do you think that the girls really laughed at him?
I don't know, because he lied a lot. So do you really think that, like, every single time he went to a sex worker,
they did the same thing?
They did the same thing? I mean, there's
like, haha.
They're sex workers. They do a job and they get paid and then they leave. So
yeah, but if you can't get hard, they can't do their job and they can't get paid.
Right. That's true.
And then you're wasting their time.
But then are they going to sit there and make fun of you? Well, I mean, a man...
Or just, like, get out of the car.
Or just get out. I would just want to get out and leave. No,
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to...
Just thinking it through.
Yeah.
Talking it through.
Yeah.
That was really terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. So my sources were Wikipedia, a blog Inside the Mind of Arthur Shawcross, the 300-pound Genesee River Killer. What is it? The Big Book of Serial Killers by Jack Rosewood.
So he ended up being really big. I remember you said that he was, like, premature and was a very small kid.
But he was 300 pounds. Yeah. He had, like, a big turkey neck in one of the...
I know, I was looking at the pictures. It looks like older. He had a big...
Like me with my double chin.
Oh, thanks.
So that is all.
I have, like, so many more questions.
Yeah, he's a pretty bad one.
Yeah, and I've never heard of him.
No, I hadn't heard of him either. I don't know how.
I wonder if, like, those cases, like, any of that made national news?
I would think.
Or, like, just regional.
Maybe it just was regional.
Maybe there are serial killers nowadays, but it's just, like, regional stuff, and we don't hear about it here.
Yeah.
And if there was one here in Houston, I would never leave my house.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, I mean, shoot, there's how many killings every day that you wake up? There's...
Girl.
Yeah.
That app.
Yeah.
The Citizen app?
Yeah. Someone else was talking to me about it, and I was like, nope, not going to do it.
Don't. I've done it, and now it's too much. It's every day.
Scary.
Fatally murdered, fatally shot, dead body found here. I'm like, but, like, nothing around our little suburb.
No.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. We have a nice little area.
Yeah. And we've been looking at houses, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm too afraid to go anywhere else. I'm like, have to stay there.
Yeah.
Because...
I hear you.
But, like, even here, there's been some crazy stuff.
Yeah, there has been.
Remember I was telling you about that girl who lit that guy on fire last summer?
Yeah.
In his house, just in his bed, him and his girlfriend or wife.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
it's crazy. Or there was the high schooler who got killed on the Greenbelt.
Yes. That was the sheriff's son.
I know.
Yeah.
So there is stuff that happens here.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it happens everywhere.
It does.
You know?
It happens everywhere.
Okay. Anyways.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And if you want to find us on Instagram,
you can do that at The Murder Mamas.
And Facebook.
The M Mamas?
The M Mamas.
Because you can't say murder on Facebook.
Yeah. And Twitter.
The Murder Mamas.
Yep. And Gmail.
themurdermamas@gmail.com.
Yes. And if you'd like, please subscribe and rate. It really helps us.
Send us a message. Let's talk about this case. How much did you hate him?
We would love to hear from you guys.
And talk about it. And
let's
get a discussion going.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.